Welcome to the Healthy with Heartland podcast, the show built around bringing big-time value and discussing the business of food. Why? Because we're committed to helping families eat healthier, cleaner, safer food. I'm Matt Balducci, two-time TEDx speaker, father, husband, ex-bodybuilder, and business growth expert. And today we have a special guest, our owner and president, Jerry Freishtat. Woo! So I want to also introduce you to our co-host, Justin. So I'll let you take it away, the Sultan of Sourcing.
Yes, we're super excited for this episode. This is week 2, episode 2. And today we're going to give you tons of value and insight as always, but straight from the man who created this entire thing we call Heartland Foods. Super excited to get into that. But first, we're going to send it over to Shannon and our creative director team over here for some announcements.
Take it away.
Hi, all. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching the Healthy with Heartland podcast. We're so glad to be back for week 2. I know we're all super excited. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and you follow us on Facebook. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Instagram, and connect with us on LinkedIn. We would love to chat with you more. We also released our interactive webinar last week, which we mentioned. It's on our website. If you go to heartlandfoods.com/HFwebinar, you can check that out. Some awesome information there for you. We also have the reorder special for this month. It's August, and if you place your order by the end of the month, you will receive a Murray's Family Farm chicken with your order absolutely free. So that is super exciting. And we just want to give a quick shout out to all of our wellness consultants. They work super, super hard day in and day out. They are always there ready for your referrals, and we just appreciate everything that they do. So I'll go ahead and I'll turn it back over to Matt and Justin. Before I do, make sure you leave comments, questions, concerns in our comments below. We'll be monitoring those during the show, and we'd love to give you a shout out.
Awesome.
So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Simon. So, guys, again, click the like button, share this, please, okay? So today we have a special guest, which is our owner and president, Jerry. And again, one of the key to successes here at Heartland is Jerry himself. And I want to give you his quick background. So he is a customer service king, and we'll talk a little bit about that today and why that's his number one priority is taking care of our customers, which has led to the success of the business. He's a serial entrepreneur, has owned multiple different organizations and companies that have ranged in the millions of dollars in terms of revenue. He's a bodybuilder and a father of 5. So super busy, super impressive, and also extremely, extremely successful. But I want to let him take it away here just with a quick bio. So kind of give us a heads up, Jerry, a little bit about your background, you know, how you got started in business, what I guess put you in this position you're in today.
Yeah, well, thanks, Matt. Great to be here with everybody. Just start out with family. I mean, I am married to the sweetest woman on the planet. She's a special education teacher. The family joke is, of course, that that's how she tolerates me. But I have 5 kids, as they mentioned previously. 2 of them, Justin and Amanda, both work within the organization. Justin's up here at the Baltimore operation and is a big part of the sourcing of our foods and sales operations and management. And Amanda and her husband, Anthony, run our South Carolina division. My other children, my second oldest son is a auto tech up in Delaware, does a great job up there. And I also have my youngest son is a police officer. I'm proud to say that he is a police officer down in the Charlottesville area. And my youngest, who's a 12-year-old, is going to be the next Taylor Swift. So she's working hard on her music. So That's basically the background. Yep.
That's awesome. Awesome. And again, as you can hear, super busy in terms of his background, but we'll kind of jump in a little bit, kind of get things going here. So maybe a little bit about your background, Jerry, of where you went to school, what sports did you play, kind of what's led you to, becoming an entrepreneur.
Sure. Grew up in a not the best of areas down in Langley Park, Maryland, and I went to High Point High School. I've been an athlete essentially my whole life. Played everything growing up, baseball, football, played hockey, and evolved into golf became my sport of choice, which I'll talk about in a little bit later. That's basically the background. Yep, went to University of Maryland and ended up playing golf there as well.
I love it. Yep. I love it. So right now, in terms of golfing, what's your best score that you've ever had?
Best score ever?
Yeah.
66.
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So basically, one of the big things is, as we kind of get into kind of the meat of this talk today and we get into the meat of our podcast, basically we're talking about Heartland Foods today, and Jerry's the owner and operator. So basically, how did you start this business, Jerry, and why did you get into this industry? Like, why this industry specifically?
Well, I'd like to tell everybody that I came out to save the world from a health perspective and bring healthy foods to the world. But I actually got into this industry prior to the health food craze. So it really evolved from after I'd sold another company in 1999, and after that. The .com crash occurred, and there were some personal issues in my life as well. And a couple of years later, I really needed to get something else going. So through an associate, I stumbled across a company in Baltimore called Owner Foods, which had been a staple in the Baltimore market since 1939. It had been through a couple of different owners, a couple of different family members, and when I found them, they were essentially a month or two away from bankruptcy. And so I went in there and saw the opportunity. They had a large customer list that could be redeveloped, and did what's called an asset purchase. Just bought a couple trucks, a couple employees, and that customer list, and between myself and the two employees that I acquired there and the other gentleman that was working with me at the time, we launched Heartland Foods. But it started out as just a quality home food delivery company. Wasn't related to health foods or anything along those lines, because in the early 2000s, that was really prior to the health food craze getting moving.
I love it. And if you think about it from that perspective, I want to ask you just a funny question, since we have Justin and you on the podcast here. So Justin, last week, if you guys don't remember listening, Justin started in the business at 14 years old. So how have you seen kind of your son evolve in the company, and in terms of working together, how's kind of that dynamic been from a standpoint of growth? Because obviously the business has scaled very fast, and we're in a massive growth mode right now, which is super exciting. And I get to work alongside Justin every day, and I see kind of who he's become. But how was it, and why did you feel okay, having your 14-year-old son kind of get started in the business with you?
Yeah, I think the best way to answer that question is, I'd say this with all my kids and just parenting in general. Your actions as a parent, your leadership, your work ethic, how you portray yourself is what you do is way more important than what you say. And I felt that all of my children have gone down really solid foundation pathways due to that. So when Justin started at 14, and actually all the kids at some point did some part of the business, whether it was working at shows, doing deliveries, while they were in college, most of them worked here. So I would say that in the long run, it was a development thing. Of course, there were bumps on the road, but that's part of growing up. And he has evolved to being just a stellar sales representative. I'd put him in the elite level of
100%.
Sales skills, right?
Oh yeah.
And, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Right.
I agree, and I've worked with hundreds of salespeople, and I'll tell you, Justin is phenomenal, not just from a sales skill, but he takes care of his customers, which we'll get into here in a second with why that's the most important for Jerry. But the one thing I want everyone to take away from what Jerry just said is what you do is more important than what you say, right? Especially for the parents out there listening. I'm a dad right now. I have two little ones at home, and just listening to that just got me a little excited, right? And the reason is it's so important to basically not just tell somebody what to do, but basically show them how to do it and be a great example, which you have been for, your family so far, Jerry, and obviously super successful. So Justin, you have any questions to kind of take over here for a second?
Yeah, I think one thing on that topic you were just talking about, giving me a model to look up to, which you don't know, listen to this, it's unattainable. This guy has a level of discipline and work ethic that is just unattainable. So
it's attainable. It's just very challenging.
It's always something to work towards, right? To model after. So my question for you is, from a discipline perspective, you're basically a complete machine in your work ethic in the gym, your diet, the business. Like, you're the most reliable person I've ever met, ever known. So how do you develop that sort of discipline, and what was it like getting there?
Well, part of it comes, I got to jump all the way back to my childhood related to this, in elementary school, I was what you would call an ADD kid, basically was in trouble all the time, couldn't sit in class, principal's office on a regular basis and so forth. And just like, most people, there's a few people that jump into your life that can make a huge impact on you. And that happened to me with my sixth grade teacher. Essentially, just like every year, starting in third, fourth, fifth grade, I was big discipline problem. As a matter of fact, I almost got kicked out of school. So in sixth grade, very first day, of course, I go into class doing the same antics, trying to get out of class because it was torture for me sitting in class being ADD. And my teacher, literally, her name was Mrs. Campbell, took me in the hallway the very first day, and she literally just jacked my ass up against the wall. I remember I smacked my head on that wall, and she was like 1 inch from my face, and she just said, "Young man, you are not leaving this class." And then she changed her tone. I just specifically remember it, and she goes, "You and I are going to get along just fine." And she just knew how to handle me with my attention issues. And created an atmosphere in the classroom that made it workable. And in today's world, when I saw my kids go to elementary school, and fortunately none of them have those same issues. When I say fortunately, maybe not, because now I know how to use all that to my advantage. But the situation in schools today is they do adapt, especially where my kids went to school. And I've been in the classes many times, and I see how the teachers are trained to handle the different personalities of kids and the different skill sets and so forth. So that was the beginning of it. Secondly, I'm going to just jump to my dad. He worked 2-3 jobs for years just to put food on the table. And the second and third jobs were always little side businesses. So I saw a tremendous amount of discipline in my household, trying to achieve, everything constantly getting better, try to make things work a little better. That was a great atmosphere for me because I just loved the entrepreneurial aspect of what I saw as a little kid. And my favorite thing was he had a souvenir stand at the Washington Senators. This is the original Washington Senator. Not the original. I think they came and went 3 or 4 times. But from the late 60s to early 70s, I was at baseball games working at my dad's souvenir stand all the time. It was different times. I was 9, 10 years old. I'd take a stack of programs out in the stands and sell them, and so I learned just learned certain disciplines and the rewards of disciplines, at a fairly young age, and then I met a gentleman. His name's Russell Anderson, and he's with a company called ACS Creative. If anybody needs any creative work done, tremendous organization. You could definitely contact them. But he introduced me to self-education, and that was really the thing. This was in my mid-20s. Really the thing that launched me to a new level about discipline. And I'm talking about the old school guys like Zig Ziglar and Dennis Waitley, Brian Tracy, some of the original great motivational speakers, Earl Nightingale. And I just, for whatever reason, just really took to that and embraced it. And that taught me the basics of understanding that things take time. And our brains are essentially wired for today. Like everything we do is how can I satisfy this hour? How can I satisfy tomorrow? But true success at any level takes years of time, years of effort. You're not changing your health habits in 1 week. You're not going to build a business, a multi-million-dollar business in a month or two. So you have to overcome that thought process and always have that bigger long-term view that you can take. And every time you get off track or you have disappointments, failures, and by the way, just to mention failure real quick, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but mentioning failure, when I was in college and early, especially my golf career, I viewed failure as failure, right? Okay. And it's really, there really is no such thing as failure. Failure is a learning process. And every time you go through it, if you understand that, you will come out the other side better for it. Everybody is going to fail. But it shouldn't be viewed as a thing that is something that affects your self-esteem or brings you down, or I can't do it, and negativity and all that stuff. Every time you put an effort into something and it doesn't go well, you learned something, and that should take you to the next level to figure out next time. Okay, I need to do it this way. I need to work harder. I need to work longer. But the endless pursuit is what wins all the time.
Man, oh man. I don't know about you guys right now, but I'm freaking jacked. I want to go hit the gym, go freaking run, do something right now, right? So, especially on this Thursday morning. But I want to do a quick couple takeaways that I had. When I'm listening to that number one, I want you guys to realize that's what Justin and I get to learn from every single day. We get to watch this in action. And we get to see Jerry, not only just talk the talk right now, but walk the walk. And we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like from a business standpoint. But a couple key things that I just took away from listening to Jerry go through that. One, it was funny. I just wrote on my sheet, just let Jerry roll. So basically, let him roll, right? And the reason is, as you can see, there's just a lot of value in there from experience. And, today we won't have a ton of time to go into his backstory. But if anybody ever has a chance, reach out to him. He has a phenomenal story that he's writing a book about, which I don't know if he wanted me to say that, but somebody push him to get it done. But a couple key things. One is I want everyone that's listening to listen to the beginning of that story, right? Jerry had a couple people that have stepped into his life and really kind of motivated him, pushed him to, be able to control, quote unquote, his ADHD or whatever, he had, and be able to use that to his advantage in sports, but now business and obviously bodybuilding. So I want you guys to comment below if you've had anybody in your life, okay, that has had an impact just like that, just like Mrs. Campbell. Thank God for her, right? Because who knows what would have happened.
And we actually have a comment from James Collins that he said, "Thanks for providing our family a means to access of healthy food products. Since joining Heartland years ago, everyone in our family has seen their health improve." And that's just awesome, right?
Boom.
What's up, Jamie?
Is that your client?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it. So the big thing is Mrs. Campbell. So for what's going on in the world right now, especially with distance learning coming up, I want to thank all the teachers out there with what they're about to experience. And I know you guys are going through some development and evolution right now in terms of your ability to teach the students. So thank you for handling that and handling the kids. But so let's do a quick segue here into a little bit more on Heartland. So obviously, Jerry, you have a phenomenal background, phenomenal story. But let's talk a little bit more about, customer service. So, one of the key things that I've noticed coming on board here at the company is that that's the number one priority. I don't care. Again, you guys won't be able to see this. Maybe we'll record it another day, but Jerry will drop anything he's doing, literally anything. I don't care if we're in an executive meeting, whatever, whatsoever, to take care of our customers. So why is that the number one, importance to you, Jerry? Like, why is that how you built the foundation with this business and has led to the success of the company?
Yeah, well, I mean, in business in general, service levels are what creates longevity, period, end. I mean, if you have great products, you have great people, but your quality of delivering those products or your service levels or your customer service is not up to snuff, I mean, it's not going to work. So, we are obsessed with customer service here, and the best way I think I can describe it is I had a little quote here from Jeff Bezos. I just want to mention, the customer has a voracious appetite for a better way. Yesterday's wow quickly becomes today's ordinary. you must innovate at a faster pace than ever before. So at the company, I constantly try to emphasize to every single person when they're making any decision, whether it's on the sales side, I don't care if it's, customer service, delivery, it could be somebody in our accounting department. The first question you ask when you're answering a customer's question is this in the best interest of my client? That's the first question you have to ask. And the last thing you should be concerned about is it in my best interest? So that is something that we try to create in relevance to the culture of the company, and try to provide, let people have the freedom to do something exceptional for people. And we're in a very complex business, very difficult business. When you're dealing with food, there's a lot of anomalies that can happen, and things certainly are never going to be perfect all the time. The question is when they're not perfect, what do you do about it? And we do anything and everything to take care of a customer.
And again, if you go and check us out on Facebook, right, and check us out on Better Business Bureau, any sort of site that has reviews, and you'll see literally single-handedly, because of all of the office staff, because of everyone in our company, why our clients are taken care of. But it's because of Jerry, and it's because of the foundation that he's laid. And basically, that's the number one priority is our clients. So, Justin, you have any questions about that, or you want to take over for a second?
Yeah, I got a question on, so the interesting point you made earlier about how originally Heartland was not necessarily health-oriented in the beginning. So when did that shift take place, and kind of how did we make that happen?
It really took place in the mid-2000s. I'm going to say from like 2005 to 2007, when organic first started becoming, a niche word. And we just started hearing from some of the clients on a regular basis, that they were interested in, having cleaner, safer, healthier proteins. And it was a slow, long process for us to get to where we are today. But we recognized quickly that the world was shifting, the market was shifting. And by the way, you better be ready for market shifts, because yesterday's wow is gone quickly. So we are constantly evolving, constantly changing. But it was really just response to the marketplace and recognizing there was a tremendous need for that. And it wasn't an overnight thing. It was over several years of time. And the real launch of the health food, people understanding it a little better, came when Whole Foods opened.
Awesome.
So when you hear that, guys, the key to success, and we're going to dive into a little bit of Jerry's bodybuilding here in a second, but do we have any other comments from clients or anything like that? So, anybody else shouting us out? If not, please comment below, guys, so that way, and if you have any questions.
We got Kelly Hickey. She's tuning in. We got Tina Clark. So thankful for Heartland. You guys are the best. Thanks so much, Tina.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So let's dive a little bit, Jerry. So obviously, successful entrepreneur, father of 5, super busy, right? You have a 12-year-old at home, or 12 or 13. She's 13 now. 12, yeah. And, let's dive into a little bit of your bodybuilding background. So, jokingly, last podcast, we talked a little bit about kind of Jerry's age, right? And Justin and I were just discussing kind of the difference of habits and what they do to you, especially, as you get into a little bit older in terms of the number on the paper. But why do you look and feel probably 20, 25 years younger than you actually are on paper in terms of your age? And what pushed you into the bodybuilding world?
Yeah, well, full disclosure here, the reality of it is if you look at that picture that's up there, the photo on the left-hand side there. As I said, I've always been an athlete. When my golf career ended, I really moved into the gym workouts and pursuing that. But that picture on the left, I'm 50 years old in that photo, and that's 30 years of pounding weights, workout, 5 a.m., and you can see I don't look too good in that picture, right? Okay, so what happened, it got me into bodybuilding, and this is the same thing. It's about running into different people in your life. At the gym that I was currently going to, all of a sudden, there's a new trainer there, this huge dude. And,
that's how it always starts, right?
And I started noticing that he was training mostly females, and they were literally off the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. I mean, these were exceptionally fit, people. And then I, through talking to people, found out that, most of them were, performers in bodybuilding. And then as time goes by, I started seeing more guys come in, bodybuilders. And so my wife was looking for a trainer at the time, and she likes to train really hard. So I said, hey, let me see if this guy will train her, even though she obviously wasn't a bodybuilder at the time. And got that set up, and she started training with him, and it went extremely well. And certainly follows a month later, I'm training with him. And after, I don't know, I'm going to say about 6 months or so, I started asking a lot of questions. And I said, how in the world did I spend 30 years and I look like this, and all these guys look like they look, right? And it was a one-word answer: diet. Okay, and that's when the education started for me. So the reality of it is I thought up until I was 50 years old, I was eating a reasonably healthy diet, was a reasonably healthy person, but the reality is that it was just misinformation and uneducation that led me to believe those things. So once I started in with getting educated on diet and what bodybuilders do and what they eat, how they eat, and the discipline, he one day just asked me, he said, you know what, I don't want you to do a bodybuilding show, but why don't we do a 4-month diet and see how you do? And I said, sure, great. I'm goal-oriented, disciplined as can be. Let's give it a shot. And then he told me, he said, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. And I said, okay, yeah, sure. I've done a lot of hard things. Okay, well, let me tell you, it was by far the hardest thing I've ever done. And the experience with that, again, getting back to the discipline, the experience of going through that the first time, and then I successively many times after, made me realize that you can, if you get to that level of doing something that's extremely difficult, and again, it doesn't matter what you do, whether it's the discipline to write a book, whether it's the discipline to compose music, whether you're an artist, I don't care what it is, but if you take something and get obsessed with it, and Grant Cardone has the saying of, obsession is a gift, it's not a disease. If you get obsessed with something, your success level elevates in every area of your life, and you kind of realize that you can achieve way more than what you think you could achieve. There's a great book by David Goggins called Can't Hurt Me. I'd highly recommend anybody who's interested in getting to the next level, read that book. It's an amazing story. But it all comes down to the effort and the discipline. So after I did that diet, that picture, I don't know if that picture's still up there, but if that picture on the right side, that's only 13 months later. That's what I look like. It was just the most amazing thing ever. Literally get in the mirror in the morning in the bathroom, and you look at yourself, whoa, is that me? You just can't believe it. So that type of feeling that you get is just so motivating, and it becomes internalized with you. That level of achievement. And then from there, of course, I went on to full-fledged bodybuilding, as my wife did as well. And, we did shows alternately over a few years. Both of us won Maryland State first place championships. I actually took 3 different divisions at one point. But the last time we did a bodybuilding show, we did it together. I don't recommend doing that. It's a little bit difficult with the discipline and how your brain is affected, when you're starving yourself with carbs and fats. Now, with all this said, by the way, I want to emphasize something here. I'm not saying that anybody should pursue a strict bodybuilding diet, okay? As a matter of fact, I'd even go on to say it's probably not the healthiest thing for you. So it's just an experience that I had that worked well for me. I probably at this point not going to do that again. It's very difficult on certain aspects of your body and your organs and so forth. So, but eating a healthy lifestyle and being motivated, the energy level that you have, I believe all success starts with health and wellness, because I don't care if you have $10 million. I don't care if you own 5 yachts or whatever it is. If you're not healthy, you can't enjoy it. You know, my goal in life right now, I'm 60 years old, is, you know, and again, I can't guarantee this is going to happen, but I'm going to maximize my odds to make this happen. When I'm 80, I want to be able to walk around Disney with my grandkids.
Drop the mic.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, you know, that, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. So, you know, essentially I still wake up every day like it's, I feel like I'm just getting started.
I love it. So again, guys, all success starts with health and wellness. Listen to that again. All success starts with health and wellness. And I know the 3 of us at this table and everyone in our company believes that. And the key is you're seeing it living proof right now, you know, is that that's the case. So, you know, I want to kind of segue a little bit now because, again, just so everyone's aware, when we first jumped on this podcast, we were going to talk a lot about Heartland Foods. But at the end of the day, what you guys are getting right now is actually what Heartland Foods really represents, and it's, you know, kind of the heartbeat of the business, which is Jerry himself. And again, as we start growing the company and scaling, this is what the foundation is that we're building the business on, is that we truly believe that the food that we provide is the best out there, and it is the best. And the reason it is that if you change your diet just slightly, not to necessarily a bodybuilder's diet, but you change it just slightly and you start paying attention to what you're eating, like we talked about last week, you're going to see immense results.
So we got Drew Donnelly saying, way to go, Jerry. Awesome job. We also have Lori Slattery tuning in. Hi, Mom. Discipline seems to be the key in whatever you do. That's so true.
Love it. I love it.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Get them.
So without going to the extremes of bodybuilding,
Right.
what are a couple key principles that you learned through all that you can share with people to get their diet moving in the right direction?
Absolutely. It's like everything else, education, okay? So, for example, you know, most people become an expert in one thing in their life, and they really know it well, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a professional sports, whatever it is. You know one thing really, really well. It's critically important to diversify in your education. You have to, health and wellness is one of those areas. I believe the world of finance, what you do with your money, is another one of those areas. Relationships is another area. But to answer the question on the health side, you have to have just some general education about the understanding of the biology of the body and how that works. And you know, there's a bunch of programs out there. You don't necessarily, I do believe that the top level bodybuilding coaches have the most knowledge. Nutritionists are great, but I mean, these guys that I've worked with, I mean, they understand the details, and all great success is in the details. So, you know, any type of lifestyle that is, you know, low carbs, you know, low to moderate fats, and moderate to strong proteins is going to, you know, pay health benefits to you. And, you know, there's certain things that just have to be totally eliminated. If you're drinking liquid sugars, you got a problem. I mean, you're going to have a problem, period, end. I mean, if you're drinking sodas, you know, sugary energy drinks, those types of things, if you're eating tons of sugary desserts, you know, anything that's high sugar is going to lead to problems down the road. And and again, as I mentioned earlier about the short-term, the way our brains work with the short-term satisfaction thing, the reason people have such poor diets is because it's not going to kill you tomorrow. It's going to kill you in 20 or 30 years, okay? And our brains just don't work that way. So you have to get this mentality of looking down the road. Where do I want to be in 20, 30 years, you know? If you feel great, you're going to look great, and everything else, you know, extends from there. Your success in your career, your relationships, your marriage, parenting, everything stems from taking care of yourself at a higher level. The more you build your, what I call your moral inner core, which is just making decisions on a daily basis that improve how you feel about yourself, the better you're going to be for other people.
Amazing.
Any other questions, Justin, for that?
I think you nailed it on the head.
And again, guys, so just so everyone knows, we got to get Jerry on more podcasts. I want everyone to comment on this post and say, Jerry, write the freaking book, get it done. Okay. Again, behind the scenes from the stories we've heard, unbelievable story. And as you can hear, He's kicking major butt on this podcast right now. Is just dropping knowledge bombs. I'm taking notes as we go. Okay. So the next thing is, and we only have a couple more minutes here, guys. So we're gonna start kind of wrapping up. But where do you see Heartland in the next couple years here, Jerry? Kind of. Obviously we know at this table where we're headed, but maybe fill in kind of our customer base and people out there that want to know what do you want to see the company look like in the next few years here?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is, without defining it, in specific terms, is the word exceptionalism. I mean, it's the same exact thing that I try to do in my personal life. Grant Cardone, another guy that we listen to here at the company and everything else, he has this little saying is, nobody wants to live in the world of okay, right? Okay, so, just like I want to have an exceptional marriage, I want to be an exceptional parent, I want to have an exceptional career, I want to have exceptional health, I want to do everything at the highest possible level I can do it and execute it. Same exact thing for Heartland Home Foods. We want to be at a level, and we're working constantly on a daily basis, looking for new ways, looking for better products, better delivery systems, better service levels. And by the way, we do have a lot of new things coming out in the next 6 to 12 months that I think most of the client base is going to be really happy with. It's an ever-evolving, ever-changing outlook to be better. I mean, that is it. I mean, and as far as growth, we do have plans to expand our geographic market in the near term. We'll be announcing some of those things in the next few months, and just to make as many families understand that take one night a week that you eat out, even though a lot of people aren't eating out right now, but I assume that we're going to go back to the old habits shortly. Take one night a week eating out and apply it to the Heartland program, and you can basically afford our service and have this incredible products and healthy lifestyle. And I just want to add one other thing, that what we've done, and this is really what Justin's effort has been, is we've done all the work for you. Okay, when you place an order with our company, our wellness consultants are going to be able to educate you on everything that you need to know. If you're trying to get the products that we carry out in the open market, number one, it's almost impossible to do. And number two, your research and understanding labels and understanding where the products are coming from and the sourcing and how they were processed and how the animals were handled, all of those things, we take care of all of that for you. So we want to create a trust factor, okay, with all of our clients, that they know that we are doing that and we're doing it efficiently. And it's a high standard that we set for ourselves, but we make it easy for people to have the convenience factor to eat a healthy lifestyle and have a healthy family for years to come.
Boom.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say. So the word that I want you guys to take from that is exceptional. And as you can see, just from listening to Jerry's story so far, is everything in his life exceptional. And I'll tell you, that bleeds into our business. Everything that we do here, every decision that's made is to give the customer experience and turn it into unbelievable, exceptional product and service, which it already is. But imagine that times 3, and that's where Jerry wants to take it over the next year here, which is super exciting. So I want to talk about next week, guys. We're going to have our next special guest, Amanda, and then tell me if I'm saying it correctly, Anduiza. Is that how you say her last name? So
Nice.
She's our director of operations out in our South Carolina branch. She is a strong, empowered female entrepreneur with a master's in organizational development. Here's the coolest part, okay? And this is why I want you to tune in, especially I have a daughter at home. I want you to tune in and have your young daughters and sons as well, but daughters specifically tune in. She is phenomenal. And she, in her 20s, she's grown a division to almost $1 million in her 20s. Okay, so again, just exactly dropped the bomb. So we're super excited to have her next week, and we're going to be, I'm guessing, having her tie in from South Carolina. So it'll be our first remote podcast, which is exciting. So I'm excited for you guys to learn from her and learn about her background in organizational development and her passions and why she decided to basically help grow the family company. So with that, guys, what we're going to do is this. I'm going to let Simon and Shannon, do you guys have any closing remarks?
No, awesome show. Thank you guys, everyone, so much for tuning in. We absolutely love hearing from you guys, and we can't wait to do it again next week.
Awesome. And I just want to say thank you to Jerry for taking the time out of your busy day.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
And I would probably say that everyone agrees you killed it. more podcasts in the future. We got to get you going, and I appreciate everyone tuning in. And again, if you're interested in getting an appointment and having Justin or one of our wellness consultants come out and introduce you to our service, please reach out, go to our website, click the link, and we'll get you set up for either a virtual or in-person tasting. So thank you guys, and have a great afternoon, and let's go kick some butt with some of the knowledge we have from Jerry. So talk to you later.